You are listening to the Fly the W670 podcast, season 3, episode 98. What does the Juan Soto mean for the Cubs, Crawly? Don't forget to listen, download, review, and most importantly, subscribe to the podcast. Follow on all the socials, Fly the W670 on Twitter, Instagram, and Fly the W on Facebook, or email us at flythew670@gmail.com. All right, Crawly. Overnight, when I woke up at 2:30 in the morning, I saw a tweet from John Heyman that Juan Soto had signed with the Mets.
Yeah, actually, I was down in Wrigleyville when it was going down. I was at the John Vincent show. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But, yep, it's what we figured. The biggest free agent on the market is off the board, signed to a record-breaking contract by the Mets. You knew Big Daddy Steve Cohen was going to get his work done. So Juan Soto, 15 years, $765 million, like you said. John Heyman, he's been on the Mully Haugh Odyssey Insider. He broke the news, Dustin, at around like 9:10. So I was, like I said, I'm at Rizzo's in Wrigleyville, kind of just hanging out. And I see this at 8:20. This is what comes up. Boom. Michael Conforto signed by the Dodgers, right? And so that's like 8:20, and it was a 1-year, $17 million deal. So right away, I mean, I know
that put you on tilt a little bit.
Yeah, I'm looking at that and I'm saying, okay, the Dodgers were one of the teams that were in on him, right? And so
well, supposedly, I mean, if the Dodgers would have ended up signing him to something similar to this, I mean, what in the wide world of sports is going on?
I see that they're going for a couple more the top relievers. They're not done. It's ridiculous.
I'm not saying they're done, but there's ridiculous. There's ridiculous, and then there's what happened with Juan Soto and the Mets. Okay.
Yeah, that is nuts. And so Soto's deal includes no deferred money, and it has an opt-out after the 5th season, Dustin. But the Mets can void that option by increasing Soto's average salary to $55 million for the next 10 years after that. So if it happens, Dustin, the deal is actually 15 years, $805 million if they don't let him opt out. So
it's just so stupid. It's so stupid.
The $51 million average annual salary is a record. Dustin, I can tell you're shocked.
Record,
I'm shocked.
Crawly, it's the biggest contract in the history of sports. Worldwide, international. Bigger than football in Europe. Worldwide. Biggest thing that's ever happened.
If you look at the top 5 biggest contracts, Aaron Judge, $360 million. He doubles that. Mookie Betts, $365. Trout, $426. Shohei Ohtani, $700. And Juan Soto, $765 million.
Weren't the Cubs purchased by the Ricketts for $840 million or something, give or take?
$845 million in October of 2009.
Okay. Are we serious? Are we serious right now?
We are serious. And just Dustin, I knew you'd be kind of blowing a gasket on this, so I got some stats for you. Here we go. This is Juan Soto. This is from Spot Track. Juan Soto averages about 700 plate appearances per season through his first 6 years in MLB. Per his new $51 million a year contract, he'll be earning $72,000 every time he steps up to bat. You were asking about sports contracts right now. The largest total value contract in MLB history, Soto, is $765. Patrick Mahomes in the NFL, $450. Tatum makes $314 million in NBA, and then of course the NHL, $112. Dre Satil. I'm not David Hall. I don't know anything about hockey.
LeBron James and Tom Brady combined on the field of play earnings are $761 million.
Yeah,
in their careers.
Yeah, and if you look, Mahomes and Tatum, if you combine their 2 contracts, that's still less than what Soto is going to be making. So, I mean, we thought Soto was crazy when he turned down a 15-year, $440 million proposal from the Nationals in July 2022. Dustin, that takes a pair of stones. I'm going to tell you, the $500 million and be like, nah, imagine if he would have gotten hurt or in a car accident, God forbid, or something to that degree. But instead, he pretty much doubles what he would have gotten. It's mind-blowing.
I mean, talk about betting on yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Talk about betting on yourself.
I mean, that couldn't have gone any better for him. And now you kind of take a look at the aftermath. Now you expect the ripple effect, the dominoes to all start falling. The really losers here might be the Yankees. We know the Yankees were going to do everything they could to re-sign Soto. And Dustin, their offer, 16 years, $760 million, $47.5 million AAV. And so, I mean, look, $5 million is a lot to a guy like us, you and me, but in context, I guess, like, for me, I'm looking at this is the Mets projected lineup. Lindor, Soto, Vientos, Nimmo, Marte, Alvarez, McNeil, Siri, and Batty. That doesn't mean that that's what's going to stay or how it's going to be. I'm just saying right now today, Dustin, if you could be in either the Mets lineup or the Yankees lineup, what would you choose if you wanted to win?
That's tough. You think it's obvious?
I think the Yankees, to me, have a better lineup.
Better lineup?
Yeah.
All
I mean, we'll see how it plays when this is all done, because I think the Mets are, like I said, not by far, they're not done. But now the question is,
I mean, do you think Soto got a strong indication from the Mets about what's up with Pete Alonso?
Yes, I think they do. Yes,
you do.
I do. And so,
and what do you think's up with Pete Alonso?
I think, however it goes, Soto took this very seriously, and he engaged right away with everybody. He wanted to know exactly what their plan was, and I think at this point in time, the plan is to make the Mets a winning team, and if that includes Pete Alonso, then that's what's going to be. But I don't think that this is just a one guy and they're done type thing. I think the Mets are still going to be making moves.
All right, we will see. I'm hoping that Pete Alonso might be available now. We'll
I am not sure. Now, Dustin, when we look at this in a small sample size, 35 career games at Citi Field, 146 plate appearances, Soto has a 1.175 OPS, 12 home runs, including 2 of the 5 longest home run in the stadium's history. He hit one 466 and he hit one 463 feet. So what does this all mean for the Cubs is what you got to look at. First off, as you saw with the Dodgers and Conforto, the losers of the Soto sweepstakes, the Yankees, Blue Jays, and Red Sox, everyone's going to be looking to fill that void, right? And that's where the Cubs are hoping and praying they can unload the Cody Bellinger contract. The Yankees and Blue Jays were interested in Bellinger last season. And for the Yankees, it can cover 2 areas, right? Because they don't have a right fielder anymore, and Rizzo's no longer with the team, so he could play first. And so the Cubs could use that money of not paying Bellinger. And we have some audio for the second segment with Bruce Levine. He was on your show, on the Mully Haugh Show the other day, and it kind of talks about this. But I don't know if you saw this. Rizzo is talking with the Pirates. You see that? He might be coming back to the NL Central.
I mean, don't do that. Go in the media. Like, go join the media. Don't join Don't join the Pirates. No, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. No.
No. Though these guys are hard, though. I mean, God, you remember the stories of Babe Ruth when he was playing with, I can't even remember who it was, the Braves, or he was playing with somebody at the end of his career. It wasn't with the Yankees. He couldn't run the bases. He used to have someone like literally pinch run from home.
It was like a softball. It's like a softball.
Yeah, it was bad.
Courtesy runner.
Nobody ever wants to hang it up, unfortunately, and we've seen that many a times. But I think about that idea we talked about. Okay, well, Vlad Guerrero, right? If you're going to trade,
he's got to be clicking his heels right now. I mean,
yeah.
What kind of a market does that set?
But if you remember, the Yankees made a big trade to get Soto, and we talked. I forget who on the show mentioned it. Like, hey, you want to get these guys in, show them everything you got, and hopefully that gives you the edge to sign them. And that didn't. And so the Yankees got Soto and Trent Grisham, and the Padres received Michael King, who had a good year, Johnny Brito, prospect Drew Thorpe, prospect Randy Vasquez, catcher Kyle Higashioka. So the Padres got a pretty good return for that. And so the Yankees, they made a World Series. Let's give them that. But that's the thing. It's a risk. If you're going to give up top prospects for a guy like Vlad Guerrero, it's not like the Garrett Crochet situation. He's one and done. So if you give up some good prospects and you're not willing to go 100% all in, and again, how much more in could the Yankees have gone on Soto? I mean,
right.
Jesus.
But it was different. I mean, it was different. It was a few million less, but one extra year, and supposedly no opt out. Right? That was another part of the
I
issue.
guess.
No
but I'm
opt-out,
just telling you, is that, do you think that the Cubs would do the same for Vladimir Guerrero if they traded to get him?
No, I don't think the Cubs want anything to do with a 10 plus year contract. I don't.
Well,
I
Dustin,
don't think they want anything to do with a 10-year contract.
That's the other question here is, can the Ricketts and other MLB owners compete with the money Big Daddy Steve Cohen is throwing around?
Well, again, that was supposedly 3% of his net wealth.
Mm-hmm. And
So
he didn't care.
He didn't care. I mean,
and again,
3%.
these owners are billionaires. They all are. But Cohen has way more money than his fellow billionaires.
Right,
and so
right.
it's
Reinsdorf wanted to keep him out in the worst way.
Yes, he did. And Reinsdorf did the same thing when Mark Cuban wanted to buy the Cubs.
Right.
And so he torpedoed that. And so, like I said, I don't think he chose the Mets if he didn't think that they were going to make more moves. And but I'm saying,
is his end game to win, or his end game to make $1 more at least than everybody else?
His end game.
And I don't think both is an answer.
His end game is to win.
You think Juan Soto's end game is to win?
Oh, I thought you were talking about Steve Cohen. As far as
no. Well, yeah, I mean, I understand Steve Cohen.
I think Juan Soto wants to win very much. I really do. He has one World Series.
Based on what you said, shouldn't he have taken the deal with the Yankees? Who's more likely to win, the Yankees or the Mets?
I think he sat down with Steve Cohen, and Steve Cohen
heard what the plan is.
Told him what the plan is, and said, I forget who said it, but I know they with one of the Bears coaches, they when they were interviewing Chicago Bears coaches, they made the guy the coach come, and they flew him in economy. Didn't even fly him first class.
Oh, yeah. You hear about all that kind of stuff.
You hear about Reinsdorf with his plane. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where when you have Steve Cohen in front of you saying, whatever it takes to win a World Series, I will do, and you will be the centerpiece. Let's be honest. Aaron Judge, that's his team, right? New York Yankees, that's his team. This now is Juan Soto's team. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. He's the man now. And so I think that makes a big, a difference. You get to be the guy. And I think that's what Juan Soto
we'll have to keep our eyes on it. I mean, I hope Cub fans are still hoping that maybe Alonso gets out of there or something like that. So, but there were some other moves. This isn't the only move at the winter meeting so far that affect the Cubs a bit.
Yeah, Dustin, this one was a tough one. I really wanted this guy, Willy Adames. He signed a massive deal.
You got Dansby Swanson. What do you need Willy Adames for?
Why can't you play him at third?
I'm goofing around.
I can play him in third, no problem, man. Let's get him in third. 7 years, $182 million deal, largest in Giants franchise history.
Somebody finally took the Giants' money.
I think, I hope we had Bob Nightingale on. He talked about just his personality, the type of guy he is. I think he's going to fit in well, and I'm sorry he's not coming to the Cubs. You got a couple of catchers that both went for 1 year, $8.5 million deal.
Supposedly Jed's still in on a catcher.
Yep. Gary Sanchez signed with the Orioles, and Danny Jansen signed with the Rays. So the Rays been pretty aggressive. You're talking, Dustin, about the Dodgers. How about the Dodgers signing Blake Treinen into a 2-year, $22 million deal? And then Jordan Romero, another reliever, he signs with the Phillies. Now, there's a lot of free agents out there that still fit the Cubs' needs. But again, the Cubs aren't moving until we know what's going on with Cody Bellinger. So, Corbin Burns, Max Fried, Jack Flaherty, Nathan Eovaldi, Sean Monero, those guys, a lot of free agent relievers. And so the other big story that kind of comes in the last 24 hours, it's one that we knew, but it is official now. Roki Sasaki has been posted. The window runs from December 10th until 5 p.m. Eastern time, 4 p.m. Central on January 23rd. Now, here's what we know, Dustin. Here's where it gets interesting. He is going to wait until the 2025 International Amateur signing period begins on January 15th. So on January 15th, everything resets. There's kind of like a dead period where, so there's a couple of days. I want to say it's like the 19th to January 15th. It kind of closes up, and then it opens up again. And all the teams, all MLB teams will have their full bonus allotments available. Now, here's the thing. Sasaki's only 23 years old. So he's considered an international amateur, and he's limited to a minor league contract by the international signing bonus pools. So whoever gets him, it's going to be a cheap deal, similar to, again, what happened with Shohei Ohtani when he came here. And so because he, the international signing bonus and all that stuff, it was done so for these guys that were signing guys out of the Dominican at like 16 years old. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It wasn't really done for like professionals in Japan. And so now but they fall under that when you look at the deals. So You're going to be able to get Sasaki for a very fair deal. And so every team is going to want him. Once again, someone's going to have to make a pitch that's going to be, do that. So the 2025 period opens up. It ends Sunday, and it opens up on January 15th. And teams will have anywhere from 7,555,000 to 5,146,000. So that's a bargain, Dustin, a bargain. So if Jed could swing this, massive coup. Speaking of Japanese players, did you see this report from Joel Sherman of the New York Post on Thursday talking about the Yankees' pursuit of Cody Bellinger? This is a quote. Okay. The Cubs are determined to trade either Bellinger with a, $27.5 million in 2025 with a 25 million opt out in 26 or 5 million buyout, or Seiya Suzuki, 2 years at 36 million to reallocate that money elsewhere. A source familiar with Chicago's thinking told the Post. I have never heard Seiya Suzuki's name bandied around, and he has a new trade clause.
Just till last week, right? Just till last week, right? And I think maybe the thinking is that, some teams that struck out on Soto might be interested on a short-term investment in Seiya Suzuki.
Right, and he would.
I know he has a no trade, but I don't know that he'd be very stubborn about not going to another place, especially like New York.
Well, Sahadev Sharma from The Athletic said, the Cubs would be willing to trade Seiya, but that only appears to be an option if Bellinger isn't moved.
Right.
So they don't want to keep both those guys. And again, it's all about trying to open up spots for the young players. Dustin, there was a couple more rumors as we are taping this. On Monday, John Heyman is reporting that catcher Carson Kelly and the Cubs are close to a deal. So there's only like 2 or 3 free agent catchers.
Well, now what would that do for you? Does that do much for you?
That's fine. It's fine. I'm more disappointed they didn't jump out earlier, that they didn't jump the market. That's what bothers me more. Am I going to sit there and go like, no, my God, no. But again, there were guys, Travis d'Arnaud was out there. I mean, I like Kyle Higashioka. He was on my list. Carson Kelly. So just kind of give you an idea. Kyle Higashioka had a 2.9 WAR last year. Travis d'Arnaud 2.5. Danny Jansen, who the Rays just signed. I mean, why couldn't you have done that? He had a 2.5 WAR. Carson Kelly's 30 has a 1.9 WAR. So he's above a replacement player. Dustin, there's one more guy that's available that is above a average WAR, average player. Yasmani Grandal. Do anything for you?
No.
And guess who else is on the list? Jan Gomes and Tucker Barnhart still available. Some blasts from the past. But why didn't they just jump out early? That makes no sense for me. And Jesse Rogers was reporting that the Cubs were speaking to reliever Kyle Finnegan. So this is going to be crazy. I kind of had a feeling the winter meetings were going to go on this. We have the draft. Cubs have a very, very small percentage chance of drafting one. But hey, still a chance. So we'll find out there. We got the Rule 5 draft. So this whole week, Dustin, we got a lot that's going on.
This is season 3, episode 98. What does the Juan Soto signing mean for the Cubs? Don't forget to leave us one of those 5-star reviews. And Crawly, we're doing a little rewind. Go back to what Bruce Levine had to say on the Mully Haugh Show a few days ago.
Yeah, it was a really good interview that Mully Haugh, that you guys all put together. It was, really, really good. And, talking about some things, and it was definitely interesting. Obviously, because Chicago's a 2 baseball team town, interest in Garrett Crochet, because the Cubs were rumored to be interested in Garrett Crochet and maybe in talks. Here's what Bruce had to say.
I would say 10.
Wow.
I would say tell me if you're an opposing GM, what would you not like about getting Garrett Crochet on your team? First of all, let's talk about ability. We know he has tremendous ability. We know he got through his first full season as a starting pitcher with 140 innings and the strikeouts above 200. We know all of this. We also know he's probably going to make only a small amount of money here, $4 million. Max out at about $15 million over 2 years if you acquire him before he becomes a free agent in 2027. What is there not to like, and what wouldn't you want? Why wouldn't you want a number 1 or 2 pitcher in your rotation? What question marks would you have about Garrett Crochet right now?
And so it was interesting. The question, they were asking about the teams that are interested. 10 teams is what Bruce said. And now we're hearing the Brewers are in talks.
Yeah, I saw that today. Brewers, that was Morosi, right?
Yeah. And so obviously this is interesting. Now, Mully had a really good response to that where he was talking about, hey, this is a guy, obviously injuries, right? They would, the White Sox treated him with kid gloves. How many times did he go past 4 or 5 innings, right? So if you're telling
barely ever. And they were protecting their investment, right?
Right. And so, but that just makes you wonder, is this a guy that you're going to give a whole bunch up for if he may not be able, we were on the anniversary today, actually, Dustin, of the John Lester signing, right?
I saw your tweet about that.
When you got John Lester, he was going to be a dog. Give him the ball. You remember how pissed John Lester used to be when you tried to take the ball from him?
Yeah.
Oh,
he gave you
God.
like a death stare as you came out onto the turf. Yeah.
Oh God. So it's like, when I look at this guy, do I trust Garrett Crochet to be able to, and again, all these guys, they're not going 7-8 innings anymore, but can I trust him to go 6? Like, can I get 120 innings out of him? I don't know, per season. It's just bizarre. And so it was a good point brought up. And then this is where Bruce drops this one that almost made me literally spit out my orange juice.
You're going to give up 3 of your top players in your minor league system for Crochet. If you're the Cubs, are you willing to give up Shaw? Are you willing to give up Casey? Are you willing to give up Triantos? White Sox are going to want 3 really good young players, not just average, but guys that they can project as everyday players in their lineup for the next 5 or 7 years. With that in mind, would you be willing to make a trade like that if you're the Cubs, knowing you're going to get a 1 or a 2, and finally, something they don't have, a power arm in the rotation?
Bruce is right on that. The Cubs are desperate for a power arm in the rotation. But, oh boy, that asking price, when you're mentioning Shaw and Owen Casey and James Triantos, I mean,
it's a lot.
That's a lot. That is a high ask, Dustin. So I put it out there on Twitter at Crawly's Cubs, and oh my God, I thought the mob was going to come with the torches. It wasn't my idea. I'm just telling you what Bruce is reporting, but no way, man. I mean, to me, especially when you take a look
again, there's going to be a tax. There's also going to be a Cubs tax. There's going to be extra because it's in town, and that they're going to ask for more. And he's controllable for quite some time, so that's another reason why he's going to be pricier than a lot of these guys are.
Right, as far as prospect capital. But to me, when you talk about Shaw and you talk about Owen Casey and you talk about the Cade Horton, they're really kind of no starters for me, man. There's a lot of guys I'm willing to kind of look the other way on. And I know you have to give up something to get something, but definitely not 2 of the 3 of those guys. That's insanity.
Yeah, it would be crazy.
Cody Bellinger, again, all the talk. And so, Bruce was kind of talking about Cody Bellinger, and I did have some questions here. Let me throw this clip out there.
So you have Suzuki and Happ that have the no trade clauses, pointed out. Both really good players. Big difference makers at this point, probably not. Your ideal 3 or 4 hitters, probably not. Bellinger, for 3 months out of his 2 years with the Cubs, was the ideal 3-4 hitter in that lineup, a power hitter, a guy that made a difference in games all the time after the All-Star game that year when he drove in 64 runs in 3 months. So that's true. But the version of Bellinger last year, even though hurt a couple times like he was in 2023, didn't quite do it for the Cubs, right? So they're not sure they have the slugging guy, the 900, 950 OPS guy that is this version of Bellinger. Therefore, knowing that you have outfielders coming up in your system, and the fact that Bellinger, if he has a great year again, is going to walk with the last year of his opt-out and his opt-out, it might make sense for them to take the $30 million they're going to pay him this year and add other parts to their team. What would those be? another top catcher, another guy that can slug. These are things that we're going to be looking at. And the Bellinger market has not been hot, okay? They've been shopping him since November. They talked to some teams about him, not real hot right now, but once Soto is signed, and all things point to Soto being signed before the end of the winter meetings, then who are you looking at out there as far as left-handed hitters that can hit with power, that can make contact, that can play four positions? And that's Bellinger. But you turn it around, like you said, Mike, and say, hey, you're trading Bellinger, but maybe that's the type of player you're looking for.
Yeah.
So here's my issue and Bruce brought up himself. For 3 months out of his 2 seasons, he's been the ideal hitter. 3 months out of 2 seasons. Look, for me, Cody Bellinger, if the Yankees want him, they already have hitters, Dustin. They already have sluggers. Cody Bellinger would just be a little bit of icing on the cake, right? And so to me, I don't have the confidence that if Cody Bellinger has a season like last season, at least he still gives you defensive flexibility, and he has he can positional versatility, right?
Right. A lot of versatility.
And that works perfect for a team like the Yankees that don't have to rely on his bat. They don't need his bat. They would like his bat. They would like him to hit 25 home runs.
They need his defense, right?
They need his defense, and if he hits home runs,
and in that lineup, maybe he could, right? Maybe he could.
Right, but for the Cubs,
all kinds of protection. Yep.
For the Cubs, no. I mean, I can't sit there and just say, I hope Cody Bellinger stays healthy. I hope Cody Bellinger has a 25 to 30 home run season. I hope. The Cubs can't afford to hope that. They have to do something. They need offense. They need a number 3 or 4 hitter. To me, if you can't hit the number of home runs as far as millions of dollars you're getting paid, then I don't want you. That's my theory. And so last year, Cody Bellinger had 18 home runs. He's making $25 million. Not good enough. And so I would like to see.
Well, who's that guy though? Who's that guy?
That's the guy.
Who's that guy? It's got to be a trade, right? It's got to be a trade.
Well, we're taking a look, and I did have my wish list, and I had to cross some guys off my wish list. Dustin, I'm a little not happy about having to cross guys off. That always, I sit there and I'm like, but when I look at it, there is, some chance that you can get a guy with power, and that's the hope. You could see here, Soto, Willie Adames is out. But again, when you talk about trades, that's really right now where you're looking. Vlad Guerrero Jr. or Brent Rooker, hoping that maybe they trade, or Ryan McMahon. Those are 3 guys that you could potentially trade. If you end up getting rid of Bellinger and his contract, Anthony Santander had 40 home runs last year. Okay. Pete Alonso, we've talked about him. And so those are guys right there that could, when you talk about Rooker, when you talk about McMahon, when you talk about Santander, and when you talk about Alonso, those are 4 guys right there. Now, again, unfortunately, 3 out of those 4 guys you'd have to trade for.
Yeah.
Or 2 of those 4, Santander and Alonso, are the free agents. So all of those guys right there are guys that you can get it, but I just don't think you're going to get it from Bellinger. And so this is what Bruce had to say about the going to the Yankees, Bellinger going to the Yankees.
You have situations like in New York where they're going to need left-handed power hitting, and if they don't get Soto, or if the Yankees don't get Soto, is a Bellinger in a trade, is that a consolation prize for you to be able to get somebody like that who is so versatile and able to play 4 positions at an all-star level? And when I hear myself say that, I go, gee, the Cubs need that player too. So you're confused by that, but they're looking beyond just 2025 here. They're looking at we have players that we have to get in our system to major league level. We have to see what our farm system has actually produced. We have no spot right now with Bellinger and the team. They have no spot to promote anybody in their outfield. Okay, maybe not.
So in that one right there, I agree with Bruce, but again, he's not the player the Cubs need. He's more the players the Yankees need. The Cubs need to open up that spot, let some young guys go there. And these are some of the young guys that Bruce was talking about here.
Owen Casey Everybody thinks he's going to be a really good player. They'd like to get him into their lineup. They probably won't be able to. Matt Shaw is going to be an everyday player. He can hit. There's no question about it. Is it third? Is it second? Does he eventually replace Paredes? Does he eventually replace Horner, who is traded? Some of these things might be answered at the winter meetings next week.
And then our final clip, Dustin, where is, he's talking about Matt Shaw. Where's Matt Shaw going to go? All that stuff. Where's he going to play? Well, those Nico Horner rumors. Here we go.
Yep, they're heating up.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that the arm injury is something that people are going to want to look at. They're going to want to look at the medicals to make sure they're not getting damaged goods. How do you do that without watching the guy in spring training? So he might not be traded, but there have been people asking about him. There have been teams that have looked at him. I know Oakland is one of those teams that looked at Horner, and obviously a kid from up in that area originally. They were interested, even though they don't play in Oakland any longer.
Now, I'm just going to tell you, I would be happy if the Cubs could somehow package Horner and Bellinger to get something of quality from the Mariners. I know Nico's hurt. I know what you guys think about his trade value. I never thought it was about trade value for Nico. You were never going to get anything that you really are going to use in the future. It's about opening up spaces for the young guys.
Absolutely right, Crawly. Absolutely right. You are listening to the Fly the W670 podcast, season 3, episode 98. So what does the Juan Soto signing mean for the Cubs? Don't forget to listen, download, review, subscribe to the Fly the W podcast. Leave us one of those 5-star reviews. You can email us at flythew670@gmail.com. And don't forget, you can watch us, that's right, on the 670 The Score YouTube page. All right, Crawly, time to round the bases, kick up a little Cubs news and notes. Dansby Swanson had surgery.
Yeah, it was reported that Dansby Swanson underwent successful core surgery in early October, but he is going to be on time in spring training, all good, not going to miss anything. To me, that's another question. What exactly was the nature of the injury? When did it occur? The way that, Dustin, this is all played out, it's similar to Dansby's double play partner, Nico Horner, and that issue with the flexor tendon. Is this an all-year thing, half a season thing? How much did it affect his ability? I mean, his defense didn't seem to be affected that much.
No.
He really should have won that third Gold Glove. I'm still irritated about that. But, hopefully, like I said, comes in.
Well, if he's not going to miss any time, then, hopefully this is good news. So it's kind of a story, non-story, but maybe it does reflect a little bit about why things weren't as good as lots of us, including Dansby Swanson, would have hoped. All right, so this morning we got an email about the new Craig Counsell coaching staff. It is complete. It is announced.
Yep, we are announced. And so we got some returning this year. Ryan Flaherty, bench coach, second season with the Cubs. So he was with the Padres for 4 years. Your guy, Tommy Hotovy, pitching coach. 7th season in his role, 11th working with the Cubs, dating back to 2015. DK, Dustin Kelly, 3rd season, following 2 years as the organization's minor league hitting coordinator. My guy, John Maley, assistant hitting coach, 2nd year. He was, after one season at AAA, I was coach, but remember, he was the Cubs coach during the great years, 2015 through 17. He was the hitting coach when they won the World Series. How about Juan Cabrera, assistant hitting coach, 3rd season in the role, 22nd in the Cubs organization. He's been in the organization since 2004. Unbelievable. Jonathan Moda, he's going to be in his 3rd season, and he's going to be working with the infielders and infield defense. We got a new first base coach, Dustin, with 2 first names. Here we go right here. He actually, Jose Javier, he spent 2024 as a defensive coach for the New York Yankees AAA affiliate, Scranton Wilkes Barre. His area of focus with the New York farm system was outfield defense and base running. So, Dustin, we now got 2 guys on here on this roster that base running was one of their fortes. The other is third base coach, Quentin Berry. We'll talk about him. But how about this? With Jose Javier, he was also a coach for the Mesa Solar Sox, which is the Cubs AFL affiliate. So pretty cool there. Third base, I mentioned Quentin Berry. He is going to be in his 1st season following 4 years as the first base coach for Milwaukee from 21 to 24. He was base running as well. Mark Stritton is the bullpen coach, first season in that role, second year with the Cubs. He served as the Cubs Major League Field Coordinator in 2024. Assistant pitching coach Casey Jacobson. We talked about Casey. He got promoted after Daniel Mattis went to Miami to become the pitching coach. But so he's well known, and he's in his 6th year with the organization, but first year as assistant pitching coach. And Dustin, this is one this may be one of those under the radar things, but they named Kevin Pape as a head major league strength and conditioning coach and Mark Weissman as assistant major league strength and conditioning coach. They're in their 3rd and 4th year in the Cubs organization, but they're first at the major league level. But with all the injuries, again, you can't blame anybody. Sometimes that just happens, but it's interesting that they're kind of shaking this up.
Yeah, they are shaking things up. And as we're talking, Craig Counsell is down speaking at the meeting saying, quote, he thinks the roster will look very different than it does now in spring training. So
yeah, we will definitely hit that up next episode here. There's a few interesting quotes in there.
Mm-hmm.
As far as Matt Boyd, the contract became official, and I thought this was interesting. We know that Matt Boyd's making a $29 million deal. He has a $5 million signing bonus. Dustin, that goes against this year, the 2024 season. His contract then for 2025 goes for $7.5 million. So it's a little bit of playing around with numbers there. Instead of that hitting, they're already over the first luxury tax, the Cubs are. So this $5 million, it doesn't matter. It's not going to put him at the 2nd tier. So he'll get that for 2024. He'll get 7.5 in 2025, even though there's only a couple weeks left in this new year, right? And then 14.5 million in 26, and then the 15 million mutual option in 2027, or a 2 million buyout on that one. But Dustin, I asked you about what a successful season for Matt Boyd looked like. You said 100 innings, right? Yep. He will get $100,000 bonus if he gets 80, 90, 100, 110, and 120 innings pitched. So he can get one for each. Every time he hits one of those innings limits, he then gets an extra $100,000.
Interesting.
So, yep. And so they'll be looking at that. We found out yesterday they had the classic baseball era Hall of Fame ballot.
You know how I feel. You know how I feel about this. It's nothing to do with Dick Allen. It's nothing to do with Dave Parker. But this is silly.
Yeah, Dick Allen, Ken Doerr, Josh Donaldson, and Vic Harris are Negro League baseball players. So for those guys, at least they get a chance when they didn't have one when they were playing.
Now that's a different story, right?
Yeah,
that's an era thing.
Steve Garvey, who we both hate, Tommy John, Dave Parker, and Luis Triant. And so the guys that got it, they made it in. It was Dave Parker and Dick Allen of the White Sox. How about that? Again, I think sometimes, Dustin, we start to learn things over time, things that maybe we didn't value back in the day, like on base percentage, other things like that. And again, sometimes it was Ron Santo was not well loved. I think I'm trying to say, is it Dick Allen or Dave Parker? Not loved by the media at the time. You know what I mean?
I think both guys had issues, honestly.
Right. So when you take a look at that, I'm not upset about it either way. You need 12 votes of the 16 committee members, 75%. Allen received 13 and Parker received 4. Tommy John 7. So all of these,
I just love that 2 guys are smoking heaters in these pictures you posted.
I posted that because I keep asking myself, do we need more guys smoking? Would that give us more Hall of Fame?
Now you're not even allowed to have a dip in your mouth in the dugout, right?
No. I used to always love how Jimmy Leland used to always kind of sneak it and pretend like people didn't see him doing that.
Yeah, incognito Jimmy. All right, so you had a busy weekend, huh, Crawly? A lot of cubbing, 400 party, caroling, and John Vincent.
Yeah, it was a really awesome weekend for me. I got my fill of cubbedom in. I went to the Club 400 party, and if you're watching on the 670 Score YouTube channel, this is a picture of myself with Pat and with Brendan King, the voice of the South Bend Cubs. He's Pat's mentor, and it was great to see those guys talking a little bit about broadcasting. It was a lot of fun. Here's Pat coming down the stairs and getting the big introduction from everybody. And the Autograph One, who works with Pat, they just do such a great job. They bring bobbleheads. They had the Game 7 scorecard, the kid Kerry Wood 20K scorecard. You can get it signed. They had pictures of the marquee announcing Pat Hughes Hall of Fame. They had a picture of Pat and Ron Santo together in the dugout laughing. And this is they had lithographs, beautiful lithographs by John Hanley. He's an artist of the 2016 Cubs and also of all the Cubs broadcasters. And, Dustin, I get to work behind the scenes in a lot of these Club 400 parties. And there was this moment. So, I'm kind of like, ushering people to meet Pat, get their things signed. And there was a family with a deaf child. And he was wearing a shirt. I have that shirt here. I got it from the Cubs. It's about deaf awareness.
Cool.
And so it has like all Cubs spelled out in sign, but he was signing and the mom was relaying what he was saying to Pat Hughes. And Pat looks at me and he goes, Crawly, go tell Mitch I need a Game 7 scorecard, which you had to buy it when you were there.
Right.
And Pat just gave it to him and gave him a special inscription on it. There it is right there. We've talked, you and I have both gotten to know Pat Hughes over the years. Hall of Fame broadcaster, but even more a Hall of Fame human being.
Oh yeah, first ballot Hall of Fame human being, right? Mm-hmm.
Right. I just got to see the way that he treated that kid and the way he took his time. Like he wasn't going to get rushed. He wasn't going to move the kid along. Talk to him, listen to him while the translation was going. It was great. And I got to do a little bit of an interview with BK for the crowd. So that was a lot of fun as well. Nice. I always love talking to Brendan. So then
did you leave that sweater on and go caroling?
I kept it on and went caroling. Yeah. And so you got to wear.
Did you just take it off before you went to school?
That was on Saturday, so no school. Okay. So I literally went from the Club 400 party down to Output. We practiced our songs. We got to sing Cubs carols. It was a great crowd. This is a picture of us in front of the tree at Gallagher Way. They did have a very small Winterland thing. It's not. If you've gone in years past, I know you.
I went. Yeah, I was disappointed. It's not up again.
Yeah, it's very limited. They have maybe 4 or 5 stands, and they have the train. It's inside. It's not much of anything. But we got to sing. It was a lot of fun. We had our carolers, and it was a great crowd. We went to Ball Hawk Corner. We sang at Bernie's. We sang at Billy Goat. We sang at Output. I think we were at Grinchy's, Merkel's, Nisei Lounge. So we had a lot of really funny songs, and it was just really a good time. Now,
have you gotten involved? Are these parody songs?
They're all parody songs. Okay. Danny Rocket, who was on the last time, came, and we sing instead of Santa Claus is coming to town, nobody is coming to town because the Cubs aren't getting any players. They're all kind of tongue in cheek. And so I think that there was some that are not appropriate to talk about here, but
okay.
They were a little. There's a couple blue ones there, but it was one of them was. It was just really funny. I think that people just enjoy it, and we've done it now for 7 years. And so when you do it, people just laugh. You walk in there, I scream out loud, "Hey, we're going to sing you some songs." And then when we do that, it's just fun. And then people just sit there, they whip out their phones, they take a look at it. We sing Clark the Pantless Mascot to the tune of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. There was another one where it was the second Morel about Christopher Morel's brother.
Nice.
We did have a Harry Carey Christmas. The Cubs are like the 85 Bears to the tune of It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year. So it was a lot of fun. Everyone had a great time. And so I appreciate everybody coming out there. It was a lot of fun.
All right. Now, John Vincent, that was yesterday. Now, this is something that I've wanted to do and have not done yet. Is this couple more Sundays of this? Yes? No?
He has 2 more Sundays. I don't know if they're sold out yet. It's John Vincent's Christmas show. It is done at Rizzo's, and it is fantastic. And if you've never seen John Vincent sing, he has a way of just interpreting songs. It's so unique. Some of them are Christmas songs. Some of them are not Christmas songs. But the cool thing is I sit there and I show up, and who's there? Jeremiah Paprocki, who's been on the podcast. He's the PR voice, the PA voice for the Cubs. So just great to see Jeremiah again. And then John Vincent, Rizzo's is all done up, and he just, God, when he does Sinatra, but he'll shock you. He'll do some other songs, and you're like, so that song White Christmas by the Platters.
Yeah.
Not only does he sing the deep part, he sings the high part, and you never think that John Vincent could be singing that really high alto part. It was amazing. And then I talked to Johnny after the show. He's such a good guy. But yeah, Dustin, if I were you, I'd get your tickets because these things, it sells out every year. And I think the 22nd, he's doing a special Sinatra one. I'm not positive. So it's every Sunday at Rizzo's, and the show starts at 7 o'clock. And so I always recommend getting down there at 6. and then, you know, you can get some food. I like to eat before the show really kind of starts, and it's a great time. So if you haven't been there, my recommendation, head down there, check out John Vincent. You know him as the anthem singer, but he does so much more. He's got a lot of talent.
Very, very cool. I've wanted to check that out for the last couple of years. All right, Crawly, that's a wrap. Don't forget to listen, download, review, subscribe to the Fly the W podcast. Follow on all the socials, Facebook, Instagram. Of course, you can email us, flythew670@gmail.com. You can watch us by subscribing to the 670 The Score YouTube channel. So as we were recording this, the skipper was talking, so we're going to have to get to that hopefully by Thursday.
100%. We have so much going on. We'll have Craig Counsell's press conference. We'll have the Rule 5 draft should probably be about done there. We'll find out the Cubs draft status, and I am certain we will have more signings before our next episode. So just keep it tuned right here. We'll have all of it covered. Go Cubs! Hey guys, it's Crawly. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. If you want to see more of our videos, be sure to check out our playlist and let us know what you think in the comments below. Also, don't forget to follow us on social media to stay up to date with our latest episodes. Links are in the description. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Go Cubs!